everyone. You all know how passionate I am about all things off-grid, including the need for communication outside of their networks. The Achilles heel of the digital age actually lies beneath our oceans, undersea cables that, when severed, can plunge entire regions into digital darkness. Undersea cables are the lifeline of today's modern economy. They carry over 95% of the world's internet traffic, making them one of the most critical yet vulnerable pieces of infrastructure we have today. When these cables go dark, everything from banking transactions to emergency response systems can grind to a halt. I'm telling you about this because we keep hearing rumors about this potentially happening in the Middle East with the China-Taiwan situation, and really it speaks to the broader geopolitical tensions at present that could result in all sorts of attacks like EMPs, for example. Apart from this, we also have increased weather events, natural or manufactured. In 2025 alone, a record 23 weather events caused over $1 billion in damages. Examples include the devastating Texas Hill Country flash floods and Los Angeles wildfires. Cell towers were damaged or overloaded, isolating areas for days. These are just a few examples of things that any one of us could face in our modern era, which is why we need to be prepared. Tina and Martha Blanco join us today to discuss how. Tina and Martha Blanco, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Maria, for
you.
having us.
Well, we are very, very passionate, as our audience knows, about all things preparation. And that's why we love to have you on, Tina. Glad to be joined by Martha as well today. We have a number of different reasons why people still need to be prepared. Obviously, we have the conflict in the Middle East. Something that a lot of people might not know about is that as all of these geopolitical tensions are heating up, they're actually targeting data centers and communication networks. This actually happened in the Middle East. An Amazon data center was destroyed or targeted, and we also have this happening with Russia and Ukraine. A lot of their cell networks, internet outages. Now, people may think, well, that's really far away and that's not going to happen here. But the fact of the matter is that there's also other types of targeting that could happen to our critical infrastructure at any time as these geopolitical tensions rise up, but also, just natural or not so natural disasters. So I'm going to hand it over to you, ladies, about the importance of having communication in these times, alternate communication.
As you know, I think the season for the hurricane starts in June 1st. So as you know, Maria, you and I have talked a lot where cell phone towers actually get demolished
Yes.
with a hurricane, and the only way you can communicate is through a satellite phone. So if you're in a hurricane season and you want to be prepared, get yourself a satellite phone. Maria, these satellite phones run for $1,300, but we are giving them away for free. When you sign up, it's a 24-month agreement. It is $95 a month. I believe the 24th month is when our break-even point. So that's the reason why it is 24 months. After that, you're just month to month. One of the benefits from these phones, Maria, is they can't be tracked. Nobody can track you. Nobody can listen in on your call. The calls are private. This is the reason why our U.S. military uses these phones. And the reason why these phones don't go down is because you carry your cell tower with you wherever you go. This is your cell tower. You take this phone outside, you extend the antenna, and you can call anybody from anywhere during any disaster on Earth. So it's not just people that have satellite phones. You can call any phone.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're so right. And I can't believe I forgot to mention that because hurricane season is absolutely coming up. And we saw what happened last time, not only in North Carolina, which, by the way, it's crazy now because they're admitting that there's a bunch of lithium there that they want, but that's a topic for another day. The point is that any region can be targeted with man-made or natural events. And I know for a fact that people that were stuck there in in those areas in North Carolina were literally had their lives saved because they had satellite phones, because they were able to go outside, communicate, hey, this is where I am, where emergency services weren't reaching them. And so this is just super, super important when we talk about the fragility of communication services in the times of emergency. You want to be able to contact your loved ones and emergency services. Martha, what have you found? Like, can you give us some stories about, other than, sort of, because we've had Tina share some of these, but some of the stories in which ways this has actually helped people?
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of times people think that, we're paranoid because we're, looking into the future and planning ahead. But if you wait, it's really too late. So living in San Diego, there are earthquakes. Tina mentioned it's, hurricane season is coming. And so what I personally have found is, my son recently, his car broke down in the middle of nowhere. We call it cell hell because there is no signal for miles there. Had he taken his satellite phone with him, things would have been a lot differently. So it's even those day-to-day things. You're driving from one place to another. There's a pocket where there's no service. And, like Tina was saying, these satellite phones, they work everywhere in the world, 100%. It doesn't matter where you are. All you need to do is step outside. So if you're in your car, step outside the vehicle. If you're in your home, step outside, pull this up, make your call. You can call anywhere in the entire world.
Yeah, I have to say, I do not go anywhere. I've said this before, without my satellite phone in my car, inside a Faraday bag, by the way, because if an EMP happens, I want to make sure I have my satellite phone. So if you're not keeping your satellite devices and spare devices in Faraday bags, please start doing that. It's in my car at all times. And I did this whether I lived in the city or in the country. It doesn't matter. I always had it with me because obviously, you just never know what to expect. And you mentioned again, these work everywhere on Earth. I did a really interesting demo a little while ago. We had our American satellite phone ringing an Australian phone number from Australia. It connected pretty much instantly. Just explain what you mean about there is basically nowhere on Earth that these don't work.
So basically, you could be anywhere on Earth anytime. There's no disaster, there's no storm that can just knock down all the satellite phones. Iridium has 66 satellites. So you're pretty much, even in a valley, this is the phone you want to be with. And should there be any kind of an emergency. And what she said is, don't wait till the last minute. Maria, you and I witnessed what happened with the freeze recently in the Midwest when people didn't have generators and solar panels, and they were ordering them days before the storm came. And we're like, these things have to be shipped ground because the battery can't airship. So you're not going to get them waited too long. But there are a lot of our customers that were prepared, and they were really happy when this happened, especially in Tennessee this past year, where they had solar panels and generators that they had backups. But a lot of people aren't prepared. Same thing with satellite phones. One of my biggest witness in my lifetime was Hurricane Katrina, and then second was Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. Doing Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, one of the things that I witnessed was so many moms and parents and daughters that came to our office and were crying because they couldn't reach their loved ones after the storm. So what we have to do is we have to find people that had satellite phone in the area where their loved ones live, so we can contact them so that they can communicate with their loved ones to see if they're okay. Look, all you need is one sat phone in one community. That's all you need. This way, when you call first responders, Maria, as you saw what happened in Helene, you get to get the products that you actually need, whether it's baby formula or insulin or medicine or help for an elderly person that's sick. So many people that had our satellite phones were able to be part of the solution and not part of the problem during these disasters. And I've talked about it. We experienced it doing Lahaina when the hurricane hit, the big hurricane that hit Mexico a couple of years ago, with the people that had satellite phones were able to get rescued. Look, it happens so often. And she's right. California, we're like sitting on San Andreas fault, right?
Yeah,
that
several.
that could like erupt. And cell towers, they will be no good. Anything very small, takes down the cell towers. So be prepared. So this way you can actually, if you have one phone in the whole community, you can help so many people.
Yeah, during the recent freeze, I know myself and a lot of people I know were iced in, completely blocked in. And I remember going before that, I had to get a couple of things from the store. I wasn't, unprepared. I just had to go to the store and I saw completely empty shelves, no water. Everyone was out of generators. It was like, and then Tennessee in particular, you're talking about days without cell service and without the grid as well. I mean, this actually happened in recent times, and that just happened from a freeze. So this infrastructure that we have around us is incredibly fragile, and it only takes a small event like a freeze. I'm not minimizing the effect that it had on people, but you think something as insignificant as a freeze to put you out for days. So this is why this is so important. Now, I also note that you're constantly looking at ways to innovate, Tina, and protect people from EMF and things of this nature. You have a couple of new products. Do you want to talk about those briefly?
Yeah, you want to talk about that, and I'll talk about the wristband real quick, but go ahead.
Sure, absolutely. This is a great little bag because not only is it a Faraday bag, but it also protects against the EMF. So there's two colors on here. The dark side is typically up against your body because it's protecting you from the radiation, and the other side is basically keeping you invisible, which is really nice. I'm going to open it up here and I'm going to show you that it is woven with silver. So that is really what does the protection. And because
Martha, do you mind just holding it up a little bit higher for the viewers? Yep.
so you see this is inside out. This is the side that's going to be, outside. So that way you can still get phone calls and text messages without any interruption, but you're protected. The bottom of the cell phone has the most radiation, gives off the most. And so that's why we have it kind of, covering it that way. But it's really great. You want to disappear. And it's not that you're disappearing because you want to do something bad. It's just, sometimes people just don't want to be traced. They want to be left alone. They want to do their own thing. And this is a great way to do that and also protect yourself. So it fits a cell phone. The satellite phone also fits in here, and it's the same way.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah.
You can still receive calls, so this one will not. So Faraday does three things. So it protects you from EMF, it protects you from being tracked, and it also protects from EMP attack, right? So this bag is for your cell phone, so it can protect your body from EMF. I think Maria, we've seen a lot of studies where it's affecting our young people. They're not going to be able to have kids, some of them, because it is having a cell phone in your pocket all the time is destroying the health of people.
Yep.
And not just with cancer, but fertility and other things. So all those studies are online. Go look at them. So this particular bag will help reduce the radiation by about 90% from a cell phone when if you have to have the cell phone in your pocket. The other thing which you can do is you can go to darkbags.com and get a Faraday bag that completely blocks the signal. This is really good for your health, and it's good for your for EMP, and it's good for tracking. You don't want to be tracked. You want to disturb your digital footprint. You don't want 24/7 tracking. So, and then when you're sleeping at night, for the 7 hours or the 8 hours that you sleep, you might want to put your phone away because you don't need the EMF onto your body. And plus, why would you want the big tech to know the time that you sleep, the time you wake up? I mean, they're watching. They know the room you sleep. They know time. That's why when you get up in the morning and look at your phone, all of a sudden it starts to beep. They're watching. The AI is watching everything and it's documenting everything. So control your own digital footprint is what I'm telling to people. And then the third thing, of course, it's it protect some of your electronics that you don't use. Put them in there, so in case we do have an EMP attack, you have something that will still work.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've recommended to people. So if you have a smaller tablet that you don't use that often, pop it in a Faraday bag. I actually go to the next level, Tina, and even the things that I do use, I leave them in Faraday as soon as I'm done using them, because I never know what's going to happen. A second laptop that I use for work is always, unless I'm using it in a Faraday bag, actually from you, because that we got from your store, because of the fact that, I just don't know. I can't afford, I keep my spare hard drives in Faraday bags, and yes, it's tedious constantly taking things in and out of Faraday bags, but I take this very seriously. What you're saying about when you're sleeping, you don't want big tech at your face. I don't want Palantir beaming into my head in the middle of the night, and so it may sound silly to some, but this is actually really important, and it matters for our health as well. Now, you mentioned something about smartwatches. There are still a lot of people that wear smartwatches. I know someone recently who was burned by their smartwatch. So there are steps that people can take to protect from what these watches are emitting. Tina, talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I started to feel my hand was hurting. I play cards with my sisters, and I realized that I couldn't play cards anymore. I couldn't shuffle. So I took my smartwatch off, and then the pain went away. So then about 2 weeks later, I put her on, and then immediately my hand started to hurt. And I thought maybe the watch is doing something. Then I did some studies, and I found out that the tumors is skyrocketing where the watch sits. It's again, you could research it and you'll see. And I thought, what if we made a Faraday to block the radiation going to the skin so that I could wear my watch? And so we did that, and now I can wear my watch 24/7, whatever. I take it off at night, but it doesn't do any damage to your skin. Study shows that it blocks about 95% of the radiation that was going on to your skin. It is made with organic cotton, so it feels very nice to the skin. And then inside the organic cotton, there's three layers of silver and copper. Now, Maria, one of the things that silver and copper does for you is good for your health, because it helps with the blood flow. So now you're taking something that was bad and turning it into something that's good, and it feels really nice. So you just put it on and put the watch over it. The only thing that you won't get is it will not read your heart rate. So you do lose that, but everything else is kept. One of the other benefits is your battery lasts a lot longer because it's not always working anymore. So instead of, like, my battery now goes from 2 days to 3 days. So it did give me that as well. So there's a lot of benefit, and they come in many different colors. Well, only 3, sorry. Here we go. So, and then many different sizes. But this thing, it feels so nice because we did use organic cotton because we knew that it would be really important to have something soft to the skin.
Where can people get that?
Darkbags.com.
Darkbags.com. Okay, excellent. You can also, if you're taking alternative communication seriously, you can visit the satellite phone store at sat123.com/Maria. That's sat, SAT 123.com/Maria. You get exclusive deals. You can do bundles as well if you want to get it for you and someone in your community. You get lots of bonuses as well. For example, with this bundle, you're saving up to $746, plus you're getting a Faraday Shield backpack on the satellite phone store that is digital and ballistic protection when you sign up for 12 months or more of service. And obviously you get an additional 10% off. For example, with the Essential Satellite Communication bundle, you're saving over $300. All of these options you're saving when you go to our link and use our code Maria. Iridium, stay ready. Here you're saving over $1,500. So this is tremendous savings for people. Even the first exclusive bundle that you won't find anywhere else but here. Secure satellite communication with Faraday shielding and ballistic protection for complete off-grid peace of mind. I have one of these backpacks. Tina, I know you've done this before, you've spoken to the audience, but can you explain what testing you did on these backpacks? Because they're fantastic.
Yeah, so if you go to darkbags.com, there's videos of us taking them, and we shot at these bags. And from close range, we did about six different guns that were used for this testing, and and then we lifted her off the dummy. You can see the videos and not a scratch on a dummy. So this is it's made out of Kevlar. And inside this bag, this Kevlar fits in a zipper, Maria, and we left the extra room. This is a 3A or A3. I think it's called 3A. So if you want to get a 3A plus, we left enough room for you to add another plate. So we do sell, so we do sell the plates as well, extra plates if you want to have second. But look, if you have anything bulletproof, I think we witnessed that recently at the dinner with Trump when that Secret Service agent was shot who had a bulletproof vest on him, and it saved his life. Anytime you have anything bulletproof, you have a much greater chance, in the 90% higher survival rating than you do if you don't have anything that is bulletproof on you.
And your children that go to school, the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to say, we see so many of these tragic things that are happening in schools, and so children can actually have this as protection as well. And it's sad that we have to discuss these things, but at the end of the day, if you want your children to be safe, there are options out there for you. So that's highly, highly important. Martha, what do you?
I think in San Diego.
Yeah,
I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, it's happened recently in my area. There was an active shooter. Thank God no one was injured, other than the shooter being neutralized from what I understand. But it really does happen. So, it's shocking stuff. I want to ask you, Martha, because this is the first time we've had you on, what makes you so passionate about communication and about people protecting themselves in this manner?
Well, I've been in the telecom industry for many years, cybersecurity, but things have advanced tremendously, and I really care about people. And I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. It's so important to me to keep them safe. And a lot of times, they think that because I'm older, I don't understand the times. But the reality is this: we're being attacked from everywhere. Not just by, people out in the streets, but also, cyber, EMP, you name it. And I'm a firm believer that if you wait, it's already too late. So let's be proactive. Doesn't make us paranoid. It just makes us prepared.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. And I think a little bit of paranoia is actually healthy. So that's the way I live my life. Thank you both so much for today's update and this broadcast. I am absolutely passionate about people having a means to communicate with emergency services and their loved ones in the event of anything at all going wrong. As I said to you, I don't go anywhere without my satellite phone, so I encourage people to consider this for themselves as well. You can go to sat123.com/Maria, sat123.com/Maria. Remember to use our code at checkout so that you can get either your bonus items or the discounts that are offered through our link. Tina and Martha, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us. Take care.
The New World Order has openly declared war on the free people of the world, and now they're telling us to expect catastrophic cyber attacks over the next 2 years. Weather events, no power, grids down, mobile cell services out. Contact your loved ones anywhere, anytime with the satellite phone store. The Bivy is a revolutionary GPS-based device which allows you to send SMS messages via your phone even if you have no mobile or cell service. Galileo will ensure you always stay in contact with Z Media, other trusted information sources, and your loved ones that can update you in real time in the event of an emergency. Don't be caught out and unprepared for the unprecedented times we are living in. Stay 10 steps ahead through secure, encrypted communication. Visit sat123.com/Maria and prepare yourself and your loved ones now.